Hello, YouTube and universe, and welcome to Skystorm Productions. I'm your host, Morro, and welcome to part 2 of the reveals of CybertronCon 2024. Now, if you haven't seen part 1, the link for it will be in the description down below. But before we begin, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification so you don't miss another video like this, because it may be a small quote for you guys, but it's a big help for me. Thank you, and without further ado, let's begin. Now, since we basically talked about everything else in the first part, we will be talking about the Commander class and the Titan of Age of the Primes. Starting off with the Commander class, we have the Aerial Bot Silverbolt. Now, it's basically the same thing that happened with Motormaster. Basically, we get the leader of the team, and they will be forming the main body of the Combiner. And of course, on the box, we can see our main boy Silverbolt right there, looking very G1 accurate. And right behind him, we can see the two other aerial bots, Slingshot and Air Raid. And if you can notice in the back, they're at the Golden Age of Cybertron, which is a reference to War Dawn. So, if you have the War Dawn 2-pack of Ariel and Dion, along with the Hero is Born 2-pack with Alpha Trion and Orion packs, that can go perfect with this. Now that's it for the front of the box. Moving to the back, we see everything that's gonna be there. Superion, of course, and how the aerial bots will combine with him. We'll talk about that later. The robot mode for Silverbolt, his vehicle mode, and the base mode as well. Now, let's talk about the actual figure. It looks pretty good in robot mode, and honestly, I love how it looks. It's very G1 accurate, and honestly, I wouldn't really change much about it. And if Menosaur's anything go off of, the Silverbolt's going to be pretty much the same height as Motormaster, and honestly, I'm okay with that because that's how big they're supposed to be compared to one another. Now, moving on to his vehicle mode, and yeah, it's the jet he's supposed to turn into. I think it's an airplane. I don't really know what he turns into, if I'm being completely honest. But, yeah, it looks pretty good. What else could you expect from this? It's supposed to be like this. And honestly, if you look underneath, it kind of reminds me of how the Power of the Primes version transformed. Maybe that's just me, or if you guys see that, let me know. Because I find that really cool that they're referencing that for the transformation. Now that's it for the main part of Silverbolt. Now he comes with some extra kibble that forms the rest of Superion. And for when he's in robot mode, it turns into a base, which, okay, I was hoping for it to turn like the base that he had in the G1 toy, but this still works. Then again, it's not really a base. It looks more like a shield almost. Still works in my opinion. The only place it doesn't work is in vehicle mode where it just slaps on the back of the jet. And okay, that's kind of lazy now. I mean, come on. It just makes it a little bit bigger. They could have done something interesting with it. Maybe make it like a spaceship almost. But no, they just slap it on the back. Oh well. Now that's it for Silverbolt himself. Putting all those parts together, and you get Superion. And yes, he looks magnifical. Now, yes, it does use the same kind of skeleton that they use for Menosaur, but what do you expect? They want it to be G1 accurate, and it works perfectly. Now, the components for Superion fit the same way it did for Menosaur, so Slingshot will split apart, and Air Raid will fit into his leg. And honestly, as someone who's never been able to complete the Combiner Wars version, I am definitely getting this day one as soon as the figure goes on pre-order. Now that's it for the Commander class. Let's move on to the second and final figure for this video, that being Star Convoy. Now he is the Titan class for Age of the Primes, and I couldn't have picked a better one. Now, it will be a little bit smaller, and it's going to be cheaper as well. It's going to be $149, I believe, instead of the $190 that most other Titan classes are now. Now, starting off with the box, I have to say, this actually confirms my theory. Well, most other people's theory as well, that Star Convoy was supposed to be the 13th Prime in this iteration of, well, the 13 Primes. And it's basically going off of the whole line continuity idea of Optimus Prime being the reincarnation of the 13th Prime, just without all his memories and his Prime-like powers. Which, okay, I never truly liked the idea because it made Optimus some kind of religious figure instead of just some average guy who ended up being chosen by the Matrix, which I don't like personally, but okay. I could see if the 13th Prime was his own person and Optimus was made in his image. Yeah, that could work in my opinion, but Optimus being the 13th, not so much. Now, that's it for my little rant about the 13th Prime. Let's start talking about him for real this time. Starting off with the packaging, I have to say I love how it looks. And hopefully this is the poster that's going to be for Age of the Primes. If not, Hasbro, you sold. But anyway, the poster shows the 13th Prime in the center holding the Zodiac Drive with 6 of the other Primes right behind him. Those being Prima, Solus Prime, Vector Prime, Megatronus, Onyx Prime, and the 6th one is a Prime we haven't seen yet, or really hasn't been revealed yet. To me, it looks like Alchemist Prime because it has the glasses, but if it's not, oh well. Then we can also see his base mode that we'll talk about soon, and his truck mode, which looks amazing. And if you turn the box around to the back of it, it just shows everything that it comes with, which we will be talking about later on in the video. And all in all, based off the box art, it looks like it's going to be an amazing figure. Now let's move to what the actual figure looks like. And I have to say, yeah, this is great. Even though I would have chose someone else from the Return to Convoy toy line, like Sky, Gary, or Grandis for the Titan Glass, Star Convoy works pretty good in my opinion for a Titan as well. Now, one thing that you might notice, unlike the original toy that was a brick, this has a ton of articulation to it, and it looks amazing. It looks like it's really posable, and you can get him into some really dynamic stuff. And put this alongside your Super Megatron you got from Generations, and it will look amazing together, even though the Super Megatron will be smaller than the Star Convoy. Now back to Star Optimus Prime, I have to say the colors they used for it were amazing. The metallic gold just goes perfect at the center of the chest as it blends with the what I call cherry red that the plastic's made out of, along with the metallic grays and the blues. It just goes amazing together. And even though I just described the original color scheme for Optimus Prime, the way they use it on Star Optimus Prime just looks like, yes, it's more vibrant, but it's more mellow at the same time, if you understand what I mean. Now, let's move on to the next thing. We have his accessories, and he comes with a lot of stuff. Starting off, he comes with his blaster. Yes, that's obvious because it is Optimus Prime one, and a blaster is one of his iconic weapons, though I don't know what this one is called specifically. He comes with 3 different kinds of blast effects that you can use for the blaster, or the sword hilt that he comes with, and one of them being exclusive to this one so far, because we don't know if Hasbro's ever going to reuse it. But hey, that's pretty cool. You can attach it to the sword hilt, as I said, and it creates different versions of how the sword can look. He comes with 2 shoulder cannons, which look amazing in my opinion, and he comes with a little turret that can connect to him in base mode. Another accessory that he comes with is the Zodiac Drive, which was the main artifact or MacGuffin in Transformers Zone, the sequel series to Transformers Victory. And it's part of the whole Japanese continuity, and it also plays into how Optimus Prime was revived for the 3rd time in the Japanese continuity. Basically, they merged it into his chest along with the Matrix of Leadership, which upgraded him to Star Convoy. And you might be wondering, didn't Hot Rod, Rodimus at the time, have the Matrix Leadership? And if you thought that, you'd be right. But we'll be talking about that later. But anyway, I like that they include the Zodiac Drive with this. It just goes perfect with it. And if you have that Diabolus and the 2 other 3-pack that came out in, Legends? Yeah, you could get that as an accessory to that. Anyway, that's really it when it comes to the accessories. Let's move on to his vehicle mode. And yes, it looks amazing. Basically, it's a long-nosed truck mixed with a little bit of Rodimus Prime. If you squint your eyes a little bit, yeah, you can see Rodimus Prime in it, and I love it. because in this, Rodimus gave the Matrix back to Optimus again in the Return of Convoy special, which allowed him to merge with the Zodiac and made him Star Convoy. So yeah, I can see that a part of Rodimus was passed into Star Convoy, which I have to say a little bit of no homo for that. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I haven't really seen it in person, so I don't know if the back end can pull out to become like a miniature tank. But other than that, it looks like it has pretty good weapon storage, and I can't really complain about it. It just looks like the original toys, and I love that about this figure. Now, before we talk about his base mode, I want to talk about two other things. Yes, these can be considered accessories, but to me, they aren't. First up, we have a black trailer that comes with this, and it's a remake of the original one that came with the original Star Convoy. And honestly, it looks the exact same and nothing really to differentiate from it. But on the other side, there's a 13 on it, which plays on this version of Star Optimus Prime being the 13th Prime. Now, you may not be able to see it thanks to the stock image, but it is there. Don't worry about it. You just got to turn it around if you get the actual copy. But other than that, that's really it for this little black truck thing. Moving on to the next thing, we have Hot Rod, the Micromaster. Now, you might be asking, why is Hot Rod a Micromaster? Well, I'll tell you why. After the events of the Headmasters, where he decides to try to find a new Cybertron, he goes on a spiritual quest, which a whole lot of mumbo-jumbo happens. You'll have to go to someone who actually read the manga and stuff for it, because I haven't. But basic summary is, he goes on a whole spiritual journey. Right before Optimus Prime revived, he gets turned into a Micromaster, and he gives Optimus back the Matrix, and he turns back to Hot Rod. That's basically the gist of it. Anyway, what to say about this Micromaster? Well, it looks good, and apparently it's supposed to be taller than most of the other Micromasters that were released during Siege and Earthrise. Which makes sense in the long run, because in that continuity, Hot Rod did become the leader of the Micromasters. Now, the only thing I really changed about this figure is the head sculpt, because yes, I know it's based off of the one that came with Star Convoy originally, but that head looks so bland. They kind of done something to spice it up a little bit. But other than that, yeah, pretty good. Can't complain about it. Moving on to vehicle mode, and yeah, it's the futuristic car Hot Rod turns into. Nothing much to say about that. Though I do have to say, how come this Micromaster looks better than the core class figure of the same character? Because that doesn't make sense at all. Micromasters are supposed to be cheap and expensive, while core class is supposed to be like, I don't know how to explain it, but have a ton of articulation for a small budget. I was thinking for a small budget. Ooh, I'm scrambled today. Anyway, other than that, yeah, it looks pretty cool. And it can even do what the original toy could, and it can fit inside Star Convoy's chest. Honestly, I'm glad it can still do that. It was really one of my favorite things when I saw the original toy. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's move on to Star Optimus's final form, that being his base mode. And all in all, it looks extremely accurate to how the original toy did it, and I love it because of that. Now, of course, you can fit all of his accessories on there. The Zodiac Drive, the trailer, Hot Rod, all the blast effects, his blaster. Also, the turret that I forgot to mention has its own separate area for Hot Rod, so he can have something to hold on to and fire. And all in all, it looks really good. And it has gotten rid of one of my biggest complaints for the original toy. How the original toy had nothing to do with Optimus' head once he's in base mode. This one, you just tilt it down a little bit, and you can use it as a turret as well, because it has blast effect compatibility. Which I find amazing that they're finally getting rid of the biggest complaint when it came to that figure. But all in all, that's really it for his base mode, and I can't really complain about it. It brings all the accessories together, and hopefully in the future, if we ever get a Grandis or Sky Gary, they're able to combine, and we're able to make an even bigger base that more Micromasters can fit on. And hopefully it's able to connect to the pieces from Earthrise, so you can make an even bigger Micromaster base if you have all the available components. But other than that, that's really it for everything. And if I'm being honest, I'm going to buy both of these when I have enough money. But other than that, that's really it for the two figures in this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and comment down below how you guys feel about these two figures. Do you love them like me, or are you skeptical about them? Also, we have a Discord server, so if you ever want to speak to me personally, or if you want to do any Q&A questions, or if you have any hot takes you want to talk about, it's in the Discord server, and the link to it will be in the description down below. And if that's everything, that's a wrap. Fade to black.